Hey, how's it going everybody? It's Tanner here and welcome to a new Ninjago video here on the channel. In today's video, we are going to be taking a look at LEGO Ninjago Legacy set number 71738, Zane's Titan Mech Battle. Now obviously, like I said, this is for Ninjago Legacy, and this set is kind of taking inspiration from the Titan Mech that we saw Zane use during Season 5 of Ninjago. Bringing in the box pretty much right out the gate, you can kind of see the scale that we got going on here compared to the actual mech. The mech itself stands up pretty high. I mean, just using a ruler right now, you can kind of see that it almost reaches a foot. It's pretty close to 11 inches tall, pretty much 10 inches. So yeah, pretty sizable mech here. As such, it really doesn't fit in my studio, in my display all that well. So apologies if the framing is a little awkward here. But yeah, the box itself is just your traditional Ninjago Legacy box. You can kind of see some of the Season 5 scenes on the back of the box where the Titan mech originates from. So that's fun. We also get a little wheel down here saying that you can collect the Golden Ninja of the new Legacy line, which obviously we do get Golden Digi-J in this set, so that's something. And speaking of minifigures, let's go ahead and start off by taking a look at the actual minifigures that you get in this set. So yeah, starting off with figures here we have Legacy Deepstone Zane. This is obviously the Zane figure that you get in this set, and he looks pretty cool. Obviously, this is the new Legacy Deepstone suit that they are implementing for this next wave of Legacy. Zane is the only one that we have at the moment. I imagine that we will be getting the other ninja in future waves and lines, but this guy's kind of cool. I really like his colors. I feel like for the most part they did a fantastic job pretty much updating the Deepstone look. The mask is also new in terms of colors. I like how the black and the white look together, and just overall the suit itself is very, very well done. I think overall the Deepstone Legacy suits are going to be a great addition to a lot of people's collections, and also something that's cool about this particular set, it does include the new titanium hairpiece for Zane, so that's pretty cool. Just taking off the mask here, he still uses the exact same Zane face that we've been getting since Sons of Garmadon, but now you can actually attach that hairpiece, and there you go, there's that look. You do get the option to have him with his hairpiece or his mask. I usually like to give the ninja the mask, obviously, but it is cool that we are getting that new Zane titanium hairpiece. Obviously, this does come as well in the Zane Epic Battle set, but here we actually do get it in this set as well. So in my opinion, if you're going to be getting the Legacy set for this regardless, you might as well just avoid the Epic Battle set, especially if you're getting it for just the hair. You do get the hair in this set, and it is pretty fabulous, I'd say. The Zane hairpiece is always fun to get, especially this new one, which we have not received in that color yet. So that'll pretty much do it for the Zane figure. Let's move on to the other couple of figures that we get in this set. Here we have Legacy Gultar, and he looks pretty much just as interesting as, you know, Gultar always has. Again, you do get the weapons with these guys too. I just don't have the weapons. Again, this is not trying to be a review of this set, just a general overview on my end. But yeah, that's what he looks like. Pretty standard stuff, I'd say. Just your average Ghost Warrior. Not really too happy with this figure. Gultar was never one of my favorite characters. However, bringing in the other Ghost bad guy that you get in this set, here we have Legacy Soul Archer. Now again, he does include his bow as well, but I don't have him displayed with the bow. What I really do like about this figure in particular, though, is that mask. It's just a recolor of the average ninja mask, except it's done in a dark blue and purple, which is awesome, and both of these guys do use the exact same face, which I don't really care for. I kind of liked when they had individual faces, but hey, the Ghost Warriors aren't really figures that I necessarily care about. So moving on to an actual decent figure, though, here we have Legacy Digi-J. This is obviously the Golden Legacy figure that you get in this set. Most Legacy sets for this new wave do include a special Golden Ninja, and this is the figure that you get in this set for that that collection, if you will, and he's pretty good in terms of a figure. When early pictures of this guy came out, I wasn't super impressed with what we saw. Just overall, this figure wasn't really on my list in terms of a priority, but the figure in person actually doesn't look all that bad. I really enjoy the look of this guy, all things considered. I feel like in general, Digi-J here is a phenomenal golden figure. He's definitely a lot better than what I was like expecting. Early pictures of him I just didn't really care for, but yeah, I'm actually kind of liking him in person. Obviously the mask can come off, and this is obviously the Prime Empire mask, just molded in that blue and gold, which I feel like works. The J face is the same face for J that we've been getting since the Ninjago movie, so nothing too important or impressive there in terms of a face print. And the actual torso torso print is cool. The legs are pretty much the same as every other Legacy Golden figure, which is kind of disappointing that all of them use the exact same legs, but for the most part, I really don't think it's all that bad of a figure. Looking at it up close and in person, yeah, it could definitely be worse. So I think this one gets a pass from me. In person, it is a lot better than what it looks like on pictures. And it also does include this little specialized stand piece that all of the Golden figures come with that actual printed tile on there, which is a print. It's not a sticker, it's an actual printed piece, and you can just kind of take Jay off and plug him in on the stand, and there's what that looks like. So yeah, pretty solid Golden figure, I'd say, this go round. So let's go ahead and move on to the main attraction of this set. That, of course, being the actual Titan mech itself. Now, like I was saying earlier, the actual set itself is quite large, so I apologize for the lighting and some of the framing here. It's not the best ever, but I do want to show off this set and kind of showcase it here, so we pretty much make do with what we can. But anyway, yeah, this is a Legacy remake of the Titan mech, which is obviously something that we've received in Ninjago before, but this thing pretty much takes it a big step up. This set is the exact same price as the original Titan mech battle, but with more pieces and -1 mech, which some people are going to complain about, but most of the pieces go into this thing here, so it's really not all that big of a deal. As you can see, the mech itself is quite sizable. I do want to go off and showcase some of the points of articulation here, but just doing a quick 360 turnaround here, it's a pretty impressive design, I'd say. Most of the impressiveness, at least for me, comes in terms of, I guess, the joints and how they work, and I'll get more into that here in a minute. But even the back looks amazing. That's not something that you usually see on Lego mechs. Just overall, this thing is pretty impressive, pretty sizable, and I really do enjoy it. I want to break down some of the smaller details here, but before we do that, I do need to give a quick size comparison. Here is Cole's Earth mech from the Thunder Raider set. You can kind of see how they scale with one another. Obviously, the Titan mech is pretty large compared to the Earth mech here. You could pretty much stack two of these on top of each other, and that would pretty much equal the same length as the Titan mech. So obviously we're looking at quite a large mech here. But yeah, in terms of looking at the smaller details, obviously the head is something that I do need to point out. It can be adjusted like that. You can pose the head around a little bit, and obviously you can have it look up, but that's more to fit Zane in the actual cockpit, which if you look at the cockpit, it's all right. It has a seat in there along with some handlebars. Again, I apologize for the lighting. It's not the best here, but yeah, you just kind of flip that down and then Zane is ready to go. You can also see some shoulder cannons here, which do use these spring-loaded missiles in blue, which I have taken out for the time being because I accidentally shot one off and now I can't find it. So we just took the other one out as well, just because they are pretty easy to fire off. In terms of other areas of motion up here at the top of the mech, these shoulder pads can be moved. They are on hinges, so you can kind of have it posed like that. I'm not sure why you would want to. You can kind of expose these little engine parts here, but if you close it up, that's pretty much the completed look. I love how angular this thing is too. Lots of triangles on this thing. You see a triangle here, here, over here, down there. Lots of points, lots of edges, and obviously this thing is supposed to be very triangle looking in design. Obviously the head is still kind of that same relative design compared to the original. I kind of like this updated look though. He does have a harpoon strapped to the side of him as some type of antenna, and again, I apologize for the framing not being the best, but obviously you can see that this thing is quite impressive in terms of, I guess, design as well. A bunch of stickers are used here as well on the arms, and the arms are different. In terms of motion at the arms and on the hands, what you got is obviously you can rotate it forward. It is on a ratchet joint. This one does the same thing. You can kind of, if you move these out of the way, you can kind of get some movement like that. So I guess maybe that's why you would move them around, but that still doesn't look complete to me, so I like to have it posed like that. Obviously you can still do a forward motion, like I said, and the arms are pretty much what you would expect. In terms of an elbow, yes, this thing does have an elbow joint. It can go up like that, and same thing on the other arm. And something else that's kind of impressive about this thing is the actual hand articulation. Now, zooming in on that hand there, if we can do that, you can kind of see how this works. So obviously I just have it off the tripod for a second, but you can rotate the hand like that, and obviously it does have some individually articulated fingers there, including a thumb. So that's fun, and it is the same on the other side too. However, both arms have actually different weapons. Over here you can see a spinning shielded blade piece that does spin on its own. Over here on this arm you have this type of golden blade here, if I can get that in frame. You can kind of see how that looks there, pretty much as an attacking weapon like that, I would imagine is how he would use that. Overall, the articulation here is quite impressive, I'd say, for this mech, but it gets even more impressive when we move to the lower section of the body, which is something that I'm really excited to talk about. So yeah, in terms of the lower body, we have a lot going on here. Obviously, the actual skirt pieces right here that you see are on ball joints too, so you can kind of adjust those as you would like. You can kind of see how that angular design kind of goes down the torso and into the legs, which I do want to talk about here really quick. The legs themselves are the most impressive thing about this mech for me, but it's also one of my biggest complaints. I don't know if you guys have noticed me fumbling around with the mech overall in this this showcase, but yeah, the actual feet themselves, especially on my copy, are not very stable at all. In order to go ahead and emphasize my point about this, I do need to detach one of the legs, and we will look at that separately because this thing is just way too big to handle and kind of fumble around the entire set with. So let's go ahead and take off one of those legs so we can take a closer look at what I'm talking about. All right, so now that we actually have a leg detached, I can kind of show you my favorite and least favorite aspect of this set. My least favorite are these ankles. Very, very loose on my copy. They don't really hold up the weight of the mech, and looking at the actual feet themselves, there is no friction add-on piece, and that's something that I will be doing for a modification. I will be adding a friction piece there, which usually goes on ball joints like this, and it just connects to that, and it adds more friction and more stability for larger sets, which is something that I don't know why this set didn't take advantage of that, but obviously you do have all the same articulation. Some of the swiveling here kind of gets in the way because of these things, which are kind of like little booster things. They're actually kind of repainted beehives, if I'm seeing that correctly, so that's cool. But yeah, the overall ankle isn't something that I enjoy. That is one of my biggest complaints about the mech. Also, the design of the foot isn't really all that great in my opinion. It's all right for a foot for a mech, but I wish it was a little bit larger. I wish it was a little bit angular like the overall rest of the mech. Overall, the legs though are quite impressive. You do have some printing up here with my channel logo. Hey, how about that? No, this is actually Zane's logo first, and that's cool. But the actual knees themselves are something that I really find fascinating about this set. Yes, this mech does have working knees, and you just do that, and there you go. Knee joint. Now, the way that they do that is probably my favorite thing about this set, and I really do love how they do this. So you can kind of see this contraption here, a couple of ball joints here attached to a couple of these Mixel-style sockets. Now, as you push this section down, the whole thing kind of shifts down into the leg. So it kind of creates it's not so much a knee joint as it is an illusion of one, but it still creates that articulation. It doesn't matter how you do it as long as you get it, and overall I feel like this mech does a great job in terms of presenting knees. I feel like this is going to be the standard for LEGO mechs moving forward, especially from Ninjago. I feel like this is something that a lot of Ninjago mechs can learn from. This function here is a wonderful design, genius even. So I feel like that's one of the most superior things about this set is the actual knees and how they are constructed. I feel like that's awesome. Obviously, you can kind of see this joint up here. You can still kick the legs out. That is a tight ratchet joint, bringing in the rest of the mech so we can kind of show off posability with the legs attached. Obviously, you do get that kicking motion there clearly, and that works out as well. These side skirts kind of move up to allow it to kick, so that's something that's cool. And also, I do want to show you how the knees work when the whole thing is put together. You pretty much bend it like so, bend at the knee like you normally would, but the overall design of the mech is quite impressive, and it does hold up. The thing that doesn't hold up are the ankles, and oftentimes I find myself leaning the mech forward, but it catches itself on those ankles, or leaning it all the way back, and it does the same thing. Like, look at this. It feels like the whole thing is about to fall forward, but it does catch itself on those feet. I just find myself kind of wishing that the mech was designed a little bit better so that didn't happen. I will definitely be adding some friction joints in there once I do my modifications. However, in terms of overall design, I think it's safe to say that this mech is vastly superior than that of the original Titan mech. And that's a thought of mine that I feel like will be consistent. Obviously, this mech has a couple of issues, but it also is very impressive. Overall, this set is phenomenal in my opinion. I think this is a very nice upgrade to the original Titan mech, which really wasn't all that great in a lot of areas. This mech definitely capitalizes on articulation, which I feel like is very important, especially for anything kind of mech-based or robot designed. I feel like this is amazing, all things considered. My only big issues are the ankles, and that's really just something that I can fix easily. Otherwise, I'm very impressed with the knee articulation. I love how they pulled that off. Another thing that I could kind of complain about, there is no waist swivel there, so you can't get that waist articulation, but I can always mod that myself. And just overall, overall, this mech is very impressive in terms of design and functionality. Obviously, it does have a few play features such as the launching missiles, and some of the posability itself I could pretty much argue is a play feature. But yeah, overall, this mech is very impressive, all things considered, and I think it is a wonderful upgrade to that original mech. All things considered, I would highly recommend this set to any fan of Zane and any fan of just robots in general. Even like if you're not a fan of Ninjago, but you're a fan of Lego, I highly recommend you pick up this set just because it does have a lot of standards that I feel like most Lego mechs and robots are going to be following in future years, especially with that knee articulation, which is still to me one of the most impressive things about this overall set. All right, and that'll just about do it for my look at Zane's Titan mech battle. Thank you all so much for watching this one. As always, in the comments, feel free to let me know what you think about this set. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and what do you think about the actual mech design? Do you think it's superior over the original, or do you still prefer the original Titan mech over this one? Leave all your thoughts down below in the comments, and hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and check out the links down below in the description for my other forms of social media. As always, big shout out goes out to my Patreon supporters, including once again the marvelous Jan. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Once again, my name is TannerFishies, and with that I bid you farewell.